What's going on, everybody? Today is still Monwan Monday, October 7th, 2024, Gina's favorite day of the week.
Yeah.
We're here to talk some Challenge 40. Not very much happened this week, but what did happen, what did happen, we are prepared to talk about. So let's kick it off. All right. Of course, my name is John Dunphy Judea, standing my queen, who is not even on the season, Miss Mariah, and her fantastic thighs. I love her. And I'm joined, as always, by my ride or die, Miss Gina Morgino, not standing anyone. I guess Josh kicked him to the curb.
I haven't been Josh this season the whole time.
That's right. Okay, well, we are Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. We are sadly without our other ride or die, Mr. Kyle Petty, Basal. Had better things to do today, so it's just me and Gina here, still holding down the fort. And let's get into this episode. Like I said, I felt like not very much happened this episode. It was called Trust in Your Era. What we did get in this episode was a birthday party for Devin.
God.
Did you enjoy Devin's birthday party?
No, because I don't enjoy Devin.
Yeah.
I just don't care.
Oh, man, okay. All right.
Did you enjoy Devin's birthday party?
No, I mean, it was whatever. Who cares? And we saw the continued destruction of Era 1 from the game.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's just been rough for them.
It's really rough.
It's a bummer, honestly, because those are some of like the most, the biggest vets, some of the biggest legends in the game. So to watch them just get decimated week after week has honestly been a bummer. But so let's talk about how we got there. We lost Darrell and Tina this week. 2 hits for Team Petty. Let's pull up Kyle's team.
I was going to say the most important thing that didn't happen this week is that neither of us lost a number.
I know. And honestly, Kyle had just gotten off to such a good start that like he still has a decent team here. He still has 7 people remaining. Pretty good. Aviv, Bananas, Ryan, Jenny, Kyland, Rachel, Naya.
Our teams are all pretty even now, honestly.
Yeah, so Kyle's got 7. You've got 1, 2, 3. Also 7. Yeah.
And you have 8, I think.
Do I? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh wow, look at that! I'm doing great. Okay.
Oh, you got one more. Big breath.
Wow. All right. Wow. I'm doing so much better than you guys. Yeah, our teams are nice and even. I like that. That's good. But all right. So yeah, let's talk about how we lost Tina and Darrell. We had a daily challenge in this episode called Leap of Faith, and this was pretty scary. They were on a helipad, 56 stories up, and basically their team would have to jump off this helipad and try to collect flags that would then allow them to open up this puzzle and complete the puzzle. 4 people were selected at random draw from each era. Of course, Era 1 only had 4 players, so they all had to jump. And then they only had 1 person competing to complete the puzzle, whereas the other eras had people that could work together to complete the puzzle. Couple of rules here. Other than a bonus flag right in the middle, you could only grab 1 flag at a time. So if you took 2, you got a penalty. I think we saw Tina do that, gave her team a 5-minute penalty. But if you either grab just a single flag or the single flag and specifically a bonus flag, that was okay. The bonus flag would give you a 3-minute time reduction from your overall score. But so, yeah, we saw Era 4 really struggle in this one. And they've been doing really well all season. But it was this one, it was apparently particularly Josh, who was weighing the team down literally because it took them almost 20 minutes. From what I read, it took 18 minutes once Josh jumped for his team to pull him back to the top of the helipad.
If I was hanging off of that freaking thing for 18 minutes, you better hope I don't get back up there.
Yeah.
Hell to pay.
Yeah. And so Era 4 actually lost this competition after doing so well on so many other daily challenges all season. They lost this one, dead last, which of course would mean that it was what Kyland and Michelle from their team were the
Yeah.
targets, right? They'd be going immediately to elimination. Era 1 didn't do much better than Era 4, but they did better enough that they weren't immediately going in. Era 3 just edged out Era 2. Super close. I think TJ said they were separated by a minute. Obviously, we know shenanigans go on this, so who knows
Well,
how real that was. But so Kylan and Michelle going straight in. Jordan and Naya, the targets for Era 3, had the power now. They were safe, and they would decide whether either Darrell and Tina would face Kylan and Michelle, or if it would be Nehemiah and Aviv. I mean, basically, I'm curious about your thoughts too on like some of the people that are pissed that they're constantly being named as the targets, right? Corey and Jenny are the biggest ones that we've been seeing. And what do you think? Because I guess Era 3 had or is it Era 3? Make sure I'm looking at the right era. Yes, Era 3. Corey's in Era 3. So in Era 3, I guess there was some sort of agreement that Jordan, Corey, Devin would all rotate in volunteering to be the target. Devin basically shot this down this time, saying that if Michelle wins this elimination that she's going into, like she's never going to name me as the target. And Corey has been the target, it feels like, week after week. Like, what do you think of Devin here refusing? Because I'm sure that if he told Michelle, like, listen, it's my turn, I have to volunteer. I know you don't want to say my name, but like, I'm going to volunteer. I don't know. Any thoughts?
Refresh my memory, because I know I got it wrong last week because there's been so much like talk about who the targets are. Was Devin not one of the people who was mad that someone else didn't volunteer a couple of episodes ago?
I think you are correct. It might have even been Corey that he was mad.
So what the hell, man? How are you going to get mad that other people aren't volunteering, and then when it's your turn to volunteer, you're like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just feel like so many people on the chat, not even just this season, just like people that are on the challenge in general, have such a weird like entitlement to everything, where it's like the game is literally people get put into elimination. You're bound to end up there at some point. That is the game. But everybody takes it so personally when they're the person put in. And it's like, it's literally someone's getting voted in. It's going to be you at some point. It happens to be this time. Why does everybody get so pissy when their name is thrown out? And like, I get it a little bit more in the case of like maybe someone like Jenny, who does seem to be like the forever target, or even like Tina for a while was like constantly the person that was being named. Like, I get that to a point, but when it is like a rotation like that and you're the person that's called on, why are you like, I don't know, this like, because like I feel like we've seen that with like Bananas in the past too, where he's like, nobody's allowed to say my name. I could put anybody into elimination the second somebody says my name. What the hell? It's like, all right, am I just supposed to allow you to coast to the final?
Right.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, it felt very weak by Devin.
It's felt like really annoying.
Yeah, it felt very much like he was just trying to hide behind his showmans with Michelle, when he very easily could have been like, listen, I got to man up. It's my turn. Because we've seen both Jordan and Corey volunteer. Jordan, I think, has actually volunteered more than once now.
Yeah.
At this stage.
It mostly pissed me off because I know Devin has given people shit for not volunteering. So it's like,
Yeah.
my guy.
Like, no, totally.
Come on.
100%. And I feel bad for Jenny too, constantly getting thrown in because people say they have better relationships. Yeah. But so obviously there was a lot of talk. I feel like the rest of the episode was pretty much, we saw Naya talking with Rachel at one point about Naya saying she wants to see the underdogs do well, and Rachel saying, well, you should throw in the stronger era then, the stronger team. Like, their biggest people have been saying Era 3, their biggest competition is Era 2, right? And so it's like, all right, so the thing that would make the most sense is to throw in Nehemiah and Aviv from Era 2, because they're the stronger people, rather than going after Era 1, which can't win anything, is like totally on their last legs. And why would you throw in Darrell and Tina when they're barely even able to survive in this game, and you've
Yep.
got one of the strongest teams, and like two of their players are right there for you to put into elimination. And now you've got, no matter who would win, whether it's Nehemiah or Kyland or Michelle or Aviv, you know that there are strong players going home that you
Mm-hmm.
can now not have to worry about. Um, but of course, Jordan and Naya did the exact opposite. We know that Nehemiah and Naya have a relationship, so they decided to save those people and just throw Era 1, into elimination, right to the Wolves. Any thoughts? Did you have any thoughts on their decision to not throw in Nehemiah and Aviv?
I don't know. Like, on the one hand, I do get, like, numbers for Era 1 are already so down, you might as well just get rid of them. But, like, on the other hand, kind of like what I was saying before about, like, Survivor stuff, is, like, when those numbers are already down, you can pull them in to work with you because they don't have a lot going on with each other. So why wouldn't you want to take a stab at a team that's stacked with so many people when you could just pull in Era 1 to be allies?
Right, right. And like I get the fact that like Era 1 is so weak that like they're not going to be able to help you very much in the future. So like I feel like you should really take this opportunity when you know that you can weaken either Era 4 or 3 and make yourself stronger essentially. And then because you threw Era 1 a bone this week, maybe in their last couple of weeks
Yeah.
in the game, they can do, they can help you pick off Era 4 and Era 2 a little bit more. And now all of a sudden, Era 3 is the strongest team left. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I felt like in my mind that made a lot more sense to me than
Yeah.
just keeping your biggest competition stronger. So
Mm-hmm.
um, but I don't know. I guess we'll just see. It's going to be a dogfight between Era 2, 3, and 4 now.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough.
Um, but of course, we got to elimination. It was called Boxster Phobia. Basically, this was like a puzzle. It involved math. We had to move these poles around, find different numbers that made up an equation that would give you, the answer. If you got the equation, would give you a number that would unlock, a code for you, and you'd win the elimination. And in both cases, Era 1 lost. So, God, this is crazy. Michelle, she took the win against Tina, and Kylan took out Darrell. Darrell was
Kyland,
super close.
like, Darrell was close, but it always, I forget until he has one of these eliminations. Like, Kyland is so good at math.
Yeah.
Like, at any time that there's any kind of equation, numbers, anything, Kylan freaking zips through that shit. I do not understand how his brain works like that. It's really insane.
Yeah. I think it was Derek commenting on Kylan, because he said that, I think Derek said him and Darrell refer to Kylan as like just the calculator.
Truly, though, like, it's
Yeah.
really crazy.
And even more than just like his math skills and like the mental side of it, I feel like Derek was giving a lot of praise to Kylan just for being good at like pretty much everything. Because Kylan is good physically, he's good mentally. He
He's an
seems to be pretty good
insanely
socially.
well-rounded competitor.
Yeah, and Derek said like the challenge was made for him because like I feel like what's great about Kylan too is that people already see him as a threat because he is, but there are people that we see that come in and they're definitely threats. They're viewed as threats, but they also like shy away from pressure moments where they might have to go against like a big time, veteran or a champion in the game. And Kylan doesn't seem to ever be nervous about going against anybody, no matter who it is. Like he really believes that that he can beat anyone, and I think that he obviously can.
He's a sick competitor,
Yeah.
and I should always be prepared for it, but somehow I'm never prepared enough. Like it's always like, oh my god, shit, I forgot Kylan was good like that.
Yeah, if he doesn't win this season, I could totally see him winning soon. It's very soon in the future. But yeah, so I guess I just have to ask you now that Era 1 is down to literally 2 players, Derek on one good leg, and Rachel.
Oh my god, that's right.
Yeah, like what? I don't even know how the game moves forward. Like it felt like at least when they had 4, they felt like a super weak team. But now with 2, like how do you actually design a challenge so that everyone can compete against the other X's at this point? I don't understand how this is going to work.
Yeah, because I clocked that like now, no matter what, they are the targets because there's literally nobody else to choose from. But I don't even think about the dailies. Like, I have no idea. Like, is it just going to have to be a bunch of, like, individual dailies now, and the people who happen to win, that's the
Yeah.
era that wins? Like,
I truly just have no
or, like,
clue.
just working in pairs? Like, I don't know how that's going to work out.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see, because obviously you can't just, like, throw Derek and Rachel out of the game. Like, so, like,
unless another era, well, no, because they're the targets. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, so Derek and Rachel were the targets automatically because they're the last two people left on their team.
Which sucks.
I
would
know.
be stressed out.
Yeah. And then Derek from Era 2 and Cara Maria are the targets for their era. Corey and Avery are the targets for Era 3. And I think Avery actually volunteered.
She did, yeah.
Theo volunteered for Era 4. But Jenny just thrown into it again, once again.
Jenny certainly did not volunteer.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see what happens with those targets next week. I also wanted to ask you, because it came up several times during this episode, Bananas is pissed that Ryan never has to be on the hot seat, has never volunteered to be a target, has never been chosen as a target, doesn't understand why Ryan just kind of gets to float along in the house. But I think it just really speaks to Ryan's social game, I think.
Yeah.
That no one wants to pick him. Like, sorry, you can be as pissed as you want, Bananas, but, like, this is all part of the game.
Right. It's like, if that era never had a policy within them of, like, we're all gonna volunteer to go in, or like how some of the other teams have, and he just happens to never be chosen, don't hate the player, hate the game. Like, he's just set up well socially.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens. And then it was funny, we got at the end of this episode, Bananas complaining about this massive alliance that Era 3 and Era 4 have. And I feel like for Bananas, I'd be curious to see, like, what Kyle would say about this, but I'm almost surprised that, like, Bananas didn't kind of plan for this earlier. It's like, you're the type of player that I would think, all right, 3 and 4 are clearly working together. As Era 2, we should try to now work with Era 1 to take them out. And I feel like Bananas wasn't doing that. Like, you wait till there's 2 players left to be like, oh crap, how are we going to beat these two eras that are working against us? And now Era 1's totally gone. Like,
not to mention, like, I feel like anytime that we've seen these newer eras, particularly Era 4, they are very much like, all right, I'm sick of these vets acting like they can pick us off like nothing. Like, we're going to have to fight against that. Like, that's always kind of the narrative, is that, like, the newer players are like, I'm sick of these vets, get rid of them. So you already know from past seasons, whether Banana's been on that season or his allies have been on that season, the newer eras are coming after you guys. So even before any alliance was set up between any of the eras, you know the new dogs are going to be coming after you. So why would you not come into the game trying to set something up with Era 1?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see. I'm super curious about what's going to happen with Era 1 moving forward. Because I feel like Rachel especially, like, I don't know for all I know, Derek's going to have to drop out of the game because of his leg or something. But Rachel is somebody that I feel like even working alone could go very far because she's a beast. So I'm so curious to see how this is going to work. But, all right. Honestly, I think that's all I have for this episode.
It was very cut and dry.
Nothing really happened. I mean, we had both a birthday party for Devin, and then they still had a club night where they all went out. It was pretty much, we had the daily challenge. We talked about it. Era 4 lost. Era 3 won. It was pretty set in stone, I think, for Nia and Jordan because of Nehemiah. I think we heard Nia saying on this, like, yeah, I'm close with Tina, but she referred to Nehemiah literally as her brother outside of the game. Like, they have like a sibling relationship, like really have love for each other. So, like, there wasn't really anything surprising in this, I feel like. And then I would have, I guess I wouldn't have cared if Michelle lost, but I wouldn't have wanted to see.
I would have cared. I needed her.
Oh, well, yeah. Of course, that makes sense for you. But, like, I didn't want to see Tina go. I didn't want to see Kylan go. I didn't want to see Darrell go.
Yeah.
So, but I guess we'll just see how this goes from here. But all right, what else do we have coming up? I guess the next thing is this Thursday. We'll be going from 4 to the final 3, right, in Big Brother
Yeah.
26. So we'll be getting ready for finale week. So join us. Is it a late? What time is the episode on? It's not a 2-hour episode. It's a regular
Oh,
8
what a great
o'clock, or
question. I don't know, because there's no Wednesday, but also it's a different kind of week because there's only one person voting. I don't remember.
yeah. All right, we'll figure it out when we'll be streaming on Thursday night for Big Brother 26, and Kyle should be back with us then, so that'll be great.
Mhm.
So yeah, keep an eye out for Thursday for Big Brother 26, and then next Monday we'll probably be talking about something, right? Survivor or the challenge, both, one of them. I don't know. We'll figure out our schedule for the week. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Find us on the socials at StratChatPod, and we will see you soon.